Hey, I hope this finds you doing well. I think it was last week I put forth from 1 Peter the truth that as a believer that you're a priest, that you don't need a priest, you are that priest. And I wanted to develop that a little more because I was looking through 1 Peter. There's so much more that goes in that same thought. So I think it was last week we looked at verse 4 and 5. But I want you to go to 1 Peter chapter 2, and then beginning in verse number 9, he builds on that theme. He says, "But you are a chosen race, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a people for his own possession, that you may proclaim the excellencies of him who called you out of darkness into his marvelous light. Once you were not a people, but now you are God's people. Once you had not received mercy, but now you have received mercy. Beloved, I urge you as sojourners and exiles to abstain from the passions of the flesh, which wage war against your soul. Keep your conduct among the Gentiles honorable, so that when they speak against you as evildoers, they may see your good deeds and glorify God on the day of visitation." Well, there sure is a lot there, but I hope to encourage you to live each day affirming the truth of who you are in Christ. He says, you're a chosen race. Now, in our culture and day, I mean, there's a lot of tension, a lot of misunderstanding. He's saying, but in Christ, we don't have a black and white and Asian and Hispanic, or however you're going to separate the race. He says, listen, there's one race, and there are those who are in Christ, that he makes us one. He says, not only are we a priesthood, he said we're a royal priesthood. That means not only do we have unhindered access to God, but we are royalty. We're children of the King. We're a holy nation. But don't miss this. He says, a people of his own possession. You see, when we realize that the God who called us out of darkness, the one, Paul puts it, that he purchased us, he bought us with a price, that we're his possession, his beloved possession, his special treasured people, that is going to impact, change the way that we live in the world, the way that we look at the world. He goes, that our lives have mission. I spent many years as a missionary, and I think that too many Christians think, oh, well, there are those who are servants of God, and then there's the rest of us. But that's a bunch of nonsense. He says, you have a mission, and your mission, no matter what you do for a living, no matter what your occupation or retired, your mission is to proclaim the excellencies of him, the one who called you out of darkness. You see, the Christian life, friend, is not trying to tell the bad people how good we are. The gospel is us proclaiming the incredible goodness of God who called us out of darkness. And so we proclaim his excellencies. We recognize that he chose us, who were not a people. He poured his mercies on you. But then he says, remember, you're a sojourner. You're an exile. You don't belong here. This is a temporary residency for you. And this is where we need to really think, especially as believers who live in the affluent West. We need to remember that life is not about getting caught up in the world and the things of the world and consuming more and more possessions and materialism. He says, no, man, this is temporary. You're in exile. And so because we're exiles, we abstain from the lustful desires of the flesh, the passions that are normal for the world, because these are the very things that war against the soul. You see, if we allow ourselves to be entrapped by what the world pursues, it's deadening. It kills the soul. It doesn't rob us of our salvation. It just simply robs us of the experience, of the fullness of Christ's life. It keeps us from looking forward and upward, if you will. And so he says, keep your conduct among the Gentiles honorable. It's so easy for us to live like the rest of the world. And he says, don't let it happen. You're a different people. You're his possession. You're a royal priesthood. Your life is all about proclaiming his excellencies. And so live in a manner that is honorable. The world around us will want to speak evil of us, but let them see your good deeds. It's not for me to tell you or anyone else what those good deeds should be. But friends, your life, my life, should always be about proclaiming his excellencies. Our lives should be a record of good deeds, not just consuming more or falling into the trap of looking for security like the world does in things. Because I am a sojourner. I'm just a passing through. I'm an exile in the world, waiting for my King to call me to the marriage supper of the Lamb. And so I encourage you, be not entangled with the affairs of this world, but let your life proclaim his excellencies in every way. I love you and have a great day. God bless.